There are concerns Australia's future ties with France are in jeopardy after outrage over Australia's decision to abandon a $90 billion submarine deal with the country. The European nation has recalled its ambassadors from Australia and the United States following the trilateral AUKUS deal, which will see Australia adopt a nuclear-powered submarine fleet from the US and Britain. France's foreign minister says the country is now facing a crisis with Australia and the US, describing the recall of the ambassadors as a grave political act.
Il y a eu mensonge.
There have been lies, there has been duplicity, there has been a major break of trust, there has been contempt. So it's not going well between us, not at all. That means that there is a crisis. And at that point, there's first a symbolic aspect, meaning we're recalling our ambassadors to try to understand, but also to show our former partner countries that we have very strong discontent, really a serious crisis between us. And if they come, it's also a way to re-evaluate our position to defend our interests both in Australia and the United States.
There wasn't much time to pack before France's ambassador to Australia boarded a plane to Paris, ordered out of his embassy by a president furious at being cut out of an international deal. Before departing, he had spoken of his sadness at how things developed.
I would like to be able to run into a time machine and, to win it back and be in a situation where we don't end up in such an incredible, clumsy, inadequate, un-Australian situation.
The US ambassador also told to head for the Elysee, where he'll meet a president whose mood has hardened. Emmanuel Macron incensed that Canberra, Washington and London came to an agreement to help Australia develop nuclear submarines, denying France a multi-billion-pound order for conventional vessels. America and France were still talking today at a G7 meeting in the north of England, but the president of the French National Assembly and a man close to Macron told Sky News trust has been damaged.
I think this has somewhat tarnished the bonds of friendship that we have. Yes, it has made things more difficult in terms of trust and friendship.
Language more restrained than that of the French foreign minister, who called the agreement a brutal decision, which reminded him of Donald Trump's tactics. And seasoned French diplomats say Macron's hardline move is justified.
It's unprecedented, but it's a serious situation because we feel that we have betrayed. It has been done behind our backs. The contract was important because it implied jobs in France, and it was a 56 million euros contract, and which has been done years ago. So this is really something which is unacceptable.
President Macron is furious. He only learned of the Australian, America and UK deal by letter hours before it was announced. And yet many question why, given 3 nations are involved in the agreement, the French ambassador to the UK hasn't been recalled.
The French are particularly upset with the United States rather than the UK because it's American subs that are replacing the French subs, but also because I think they feel it was the responsibility of Washington to approach this issue in a more transparent fashion.
President Macron has taken a hard diplomatic stance. His fury over the loss of the deal likely made worse given he's going into a French election next year. International relations are destined for a rocky period.